Hey, friends. My name's Aubrey Garrett, and I probably look familiar because I did the kickoff video for the recruiting series, and now you get to see me again. You probably thought, oh, we're done with her, but guess what? I'm back. So I will try not to bore you, though. We had an open spot, and I thought, you know what? Expanding my network is one of my favorite topics to talk about, so I guess I'll fill that spot. And the reason it's one of my favorites is because it was one of my biggest struggles. You see, back in, I think I joined in 2015, January of 2015, and about summer of 2017, I was out of people. I know that Eric Worre and these professional network marketers said a professional network marketer never runs out of people to talk to. But y'all, I was out of people. I was complaining about it, and I was really stressed about it because number one, the college I went to was the college that Jessica Heffley was at when she started her Plexus business, number one. So like all those people obviously had already signed with Jessica. And my hometown was the same place where Heidi Spear was when she was starting her Plexus business. And between those two people, like I just figured I'd already asked everybody I knew, and then everybody else I knew them. And so obviously there were no people left. Well, let me tell you, you can be excited to know that it doesn't matter who's from your network or how many people you've asked, there are still more people out there that don't know about Plexus. Crazy story. I was on a plane one time and I met somebody from McKinney, Texas. Now, if you know anything about McKinney, Texas, we have a lot of diamonds in that area. And this person had never heard about Plexus. Crazy, right? Not really, because everybody has a different network. And so it's totally possible to keep expanding your network, and you're not going to have a network that's oversaturated. Even if you think that everybody in your network knows about Plexus, they don't. And you're not going to have a network that is empty, or you're not going to run out, because I'm going to teach you some tips on how to be a professional network marketer and never run out of people to talk to, okay? And the way you do that, it's a skill, you can learn it, it's awesome. You can do that by constantly expanding your network. Now, real quick, before I give you my tips on expanding your network, I wanna go over 2 common misconceptions, okay? Woo! First of all, some people think that it's slimy to be adding to your network all the time. Some people think that collecting friends is spammy, salesy, etc. And I want to challenge you to think about that. If you are the kind of person that is adding value to the people in your network, to the people you're in relationship with, it's actually worse to not add people to your network. Because if the people you add to your network are going to have value added to them because you're the kind of person that goes around adding value to people, then it's a blessing to know you. And if you're not the kind of person that it's a blessing to know you, then you need to rethink a lot of things. But as Plexus ambassadors, as ambassadors of health, hope, and happiness, as people who want to be influential and be leaders and be adding value to people, it's a blessing to know you. So it's totally acceptable to be adding as many people to your network as possible and making as many relationships as possible. The other thing I want to tell you is that every conversation does not have to be about Plexus. When you are adding people to your network, don't have this attitude of, oh my goodness, I just met this person in the line at Walmart. I've got to tell them about Plexus. No. Typically, telling them about Plexus the first time you meet them is not the best thing to do. You don't have to start with Plexus when you add people to your network, okay? So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But basically, what I do is, back to my laundry analogy, adding them to your network is the first step. Then building a relationship is the second step. And then talking to them about Plexus, doing the ask, is the third step. That's why we haven't even gotten to the ask in this series yet, because expanding your network and then building those relationships up, making those relationship deposits so that you can then come and ask for a withdrawal. See what I did there? It's like a bank account. You got to be putting things in before you can ask to take something back out. Anyway, but you don't have to worry about adding friends to your network. That's actually a good thing. People will be blessed through that. And You don't have to mention Plexus in the first conversation. It's typically not even the most important thing, okay? So there are 2 ways to expand your network: in person and online. And Christy Barkley did a fantastic job of talking about expanding your network in person, so I'm just gonna blow through that really quickly. Some of the ways that I expand my network in person are just looking for people when I'm running around doing my daily activities, okay? And the way you do this is that you look for ways to add value, be a listener, and create connections. If you're not listening, you can't create connections because you don't know what they're saying and you don't know how to connect with them. But if you are listening, you're going to be able to create connections and add value. I call those my ABCs of prospecting: add value, be a listener, create connections, okay? So as you're going about your day, sorry, I'm moving my notes around here. As you're going about your day, just the daily things that you do when you're doing your errands, when you're out shopping, when you go out to eat, when you go to the park with your kids or your grandkids, when you go to different kids' sporting events, when you go to just your daily life activities. Number 1, look for special things to go to. Like, look for a way to get out of your house and go do something with people. If there's not something, plan something and invite people. Most of you live in a neighborhood. If you don't live in a neighborhood, you live in a town. Some of you may live in a community like me that's not technically a town, but you could still invite people to do something with you, like go walking, start a walking group. I wouldn't start a jogging group, but you could do that. Start a cooking group, start a book study. There are so many things that you can do. And if the idea of starting a book study is scary to you, pick a book study that comes with discussion questions. Okay, so plan to go places where there are people and then strike up conversations with people. And as you're striking up conversations with people, look for ways to add value to those people, look for ways to connect to those people, and then look for ways to get those people connected to you online. Super simple to say, hey, I really enjoyed getting to know you. Are you on Facebook? Or hey, I'd really like to get together again if they're local. Are you on Facebook? Or hey, I have a book that I want to recommend to you, but I don't remember the title. It's at home. I was just reading it. I'm reading like 4 books. I got to figure out which one it was. Are you on Facebook? I'll send you a message when I look it up. I literally met somebody the other day that was talking about visiting San Antonio. I said, you know what? I'm not a big restaurant foodie person, but I have friends that are. So if you're on Facebook, I'll screenshot your picture and I'll add you. And then when I get home, I'll ask some of my friends, where does she have to eat? Just look for ways to connect and add value. I promise if you're looking for it, you will find it, okay? Other things you can do is look for groups that you can be in. Field trips, school, homeschool, volunteering, PTA, church groups, networking groups, Christy talked about, Mom's Not Out's group, vendor fairs. The purpose of a vendor fair is not even typically to sell so much, it's to meet other people and connect with other people and add to your network, okay? So those are the in-person ideas. Here are some ideas for networking online. You want to go to your friends list. Now, caveat, don't go to your friends list like, okay, let's say my best friend's name is Susie or Marcy. That's Genevieve's favorite. Let's say my best friend's name is Marcy. Don't go to Marcy's page and just add all of her friends. Don't request all of her friends. Look at Marcy's page to see if she has some people on her list that you already know that you aren't Facebook friends with. Same thing, I tell my team, go through the list of your life. Where were you born? Where'd you go to elementary school? Where'd you go to college? Where'd you go to high school? That was backwards. Where did you go to church when you were a kid? Where'd you go to church when you were older? Where did you go to church with your grandparents? Go look at your grandparents' Facebook pages if they have one. Go look at your cousins' Facebook pages. If you know who the prom king and queen were at your high school, go look at their pages. But what you're doing is looking for pages, looking for friends that you already know. You're not going to stalk their friends list to just add all their friends. That's creepy. But if you already know somebody, you can go add them. So that's one of the best ways to find friends. Another thing that you can do, look for lists. In this instance, lists are awesome. You want to find your high school yearbooks. You want to find your college yearbooks. You want to pull out your church rolls, rosters from the last couple of years. You want to pull out those lists of people that your kids did sports with, that you did sports with. You can go in your email, and a lot of times people don't blind copy, so you can just start looking at the names that people sent emails to and write those people down and look for them on Facebook. The point of this is you know a ton of people that you are not friends with on Facebook already, or social media, Instagram, whatever, and you want to go find those people, send them a friend request and say something like, oh my goodness, Marcy, I'm so excited I found you on here. How have you been? And just start that connection, okay? Those people you already know. Now, you can also, moving this again. You can also go to groups, and I could do a whole training on this. Maybe I will at some point. But when you use a Facebook group to find new friends, there are a couple of do's and a couple of absolutely do nots. And the absolutely do not is what I thought you were supposed to do when I first joined Plexus. It's like, join a group that's not about Plexus, and then look for ways to mention Plexus all the time. Just look for ways to throw in Plexus. Oh my goodness, you're suffering with a headache? You need Plexus. Jump on them, don't do that. When you're in a group, you still got to follow the steps. You still got to build those relationships. You still got to add to your network and build those relationships. And so what you want to do when you join a non-Plexus group is you want to work on consistently adding value to that group. You want to post things that add value to that group. So that's why you also want to pick a group that relates to you. Like, if you don't cook, then you don't want to join a group about healthy eating. Now, would those have people in it that'd be interested in Plexus? Maybe, but you're going to look like an idiot if you're posting things, or you're going to have nothing to say, or you're going to be disingenuous or inauthentic. If I joined a group about healthy keto living, I really like carbs and I don't like meat. So that's not going to work for me. But what I can join is a group for moms of special needs kids, or a group for people who like daily inspirational quotes, or people who like funny quotes, because I like funny quotes. So pick a group, find a group that has good engagement, that has probably between 2,000 to 10,000 members, and that has at least 10 to 15 to 20 posts a day. And then engage in that group. You can go in that group and you can look for badges. Like, different people in the group will have badges. The people that you want to look for are the people that have the top conversation starter badges, or the new rising star badges, the visual storyteller badge. If you don't understand badges in groups, go ahead and just Google them. You can Google it and look it up. But basically, it shows you who your top prospects are. It shows you who the most active people are. And then you can look at those people and you can interact with those people's posts, and you can go comment on stuff that they will see. And you can be strategic about that. It's actually a lot harder to build relationships online than it is in person, but it is doable. And some people, that's how you do it. But you're going to want to go in that group and post something funny. You're going to want to go in that group and post something educational. You're going to want to go in that group and post something valuable, or post a question. People love to answer questions. Like, if you want somebody to feel valuable, ask them let people give you their advice on stuff, because people love to give their advice. Okay, so that's what you're going to do in that group. You're going to go in that group, you're going to engage like a real person, you're going to add real value with real content, and engage and respond with real content. And then if you ask a question and you want some information on something, then you can say, hey, you know what, I'm going to send you a PM. And then you can send them a friend request and a PM and ask for further information on something that was on that post. Does that make sense? So like, you could ask, hey moms, if it's a mom's group, I'm going on a trip. I need a swimsuit. I hate swimsuit shopping. Who has a place they love to get their swimsuits? And then like 15 people comment. You go look at some of them. You comment, thank you, like their comment, and then reply and say something like, then send them a PM saying, hey, I didn't want to sound stupid, but I've never heard of this. Is this an online thing? Or, hey, I didn't want to keep, ask you on the thread, but like, how did it fit? I'm kind of, I'm shorter, or I have a short waist, or whatever. Like, did it fit true to size? Did you have to size up or down? Just like, have a conversation like a real person, okay? And then that's how you can use an online group, okay? And then also you can do the people you may know. That's one that most people know, so I left it for last. But there's, the little part where Facebook pops up, people you may know. Christina mentioned in in her video on the 5th or the 4th, that she has if you have 5 mutual friends. I would say for sure, if you have some mutual friends and they look like somebody you'd want to get to know, send them a friend request, okay? All right, so that is a little longer than I meant for it to be. So I'm going to end this out, but those are my tips for making new friends online.